Hi, I'm Ali, and I help people like you through the process of finding a job. And I use the simplest, no fuss methods to help you do it. Your value hasn't disappeared because you might be out of work, your job might be coming to an end, you might have taken redundancy, or you're just thinking, I'm fed up, I want a new job. Your value doesn't disappear, it just changes its uniform, okay? It's just wearing something else for the time being. Now, before you start jumping to writing a new CV, it's sometimes good to take a moment before you start articulating that down, is to actually think about how you're going to articulate it, how you're going to define your value. Because you really want to be able to translate your years of experience so far into what that means now in order to get the best opportunity for you. So this is quite a reflective time, and this is about really making the words count before you start writing that CV. So today, I'm going to give you a framework to confidently identify your powerful skills, your transferable skills, in a way that you speak to and use the new language of today's job market. This isn't about bragging, it's not about overstating your abilities. I know sometimes people can feel very uncomfortable when they're trying to talk about their values, their strengths, but you know what? You are your own champion. You have to say your value. No one else will, right? You really have to talk about your worth in today's job market. So articulation and translation are key. By the end of this video, you'll be feeling confident and clear. You'll have a narrative that really affirms that you are exactly what an employer is looking for, and some, of course, right? Let's get to your brilliance. Think small steps, big wins. The whole recruitment process to thinking you need to get a new job, looking for it, thinking about how you apply to it, what your worth is, then going through the interview process, preparing for it, waiting for the outcome. Everything can feel quite a lot. So don't think about it as one process. Think about it as mini processes and turn them into mini strategies. This is what I do. This is the basis of all these videos. So what I'm doing today, I'm not going to focus on this process as one big process. I'm only going to focus on how you define your value before you write your CV. I love a strategy and I love a 3-step framework. So I'm going to use another one of these 3-step frameworks for you. So think about defining your value and unlocking your potential in ways that you're identifying your hidden superpowers. You're decoding the job spec anatomy. So you're looking at the person's specification, the job description, and you're looking at what that looks like and what it means. And you're going to frame your new narrative. Okay, so firstly, identify. You're identifying your hidden superpowers. I've really stripped this down to 3 things. So I'm looking at achievements, looking at soft skills, and then coming up with a value word list. So, for the first section of this, I've found it's really, really useful to think about 3 proudest achievements. Think about your 3 proudest achievements from your last job, or even any significant life project or life experience that you've had. For each of these achievements, just write down a core skill that you need. So for instance, you may have had to fix a messy process. Well, this could be process optimization. That's what it translates to. What about dealing with or calming down a difficult client? Stakeholder management. This is what it would translate to. Okay, so that's what you would do with your top 3 achievements. The next, think about your soft skills. Translate these. So look beyond all your technical skills, and I would say at this point start to build columns. So you've got your technical skills, then you've got your soft skills, and think about, just write it down as it comes to you, but then in the next column along, write down what it actually would mean in the new, in let's call it new language, but in the job market language. So if you're always meeting deadlines, well, this is reliability and time management. You're a reliable person. What about guiding, supporting, showing new team members how to do things? You're educating new team members, you're making them feel comfortable, you're teaching them the job. You're coaching and you're leading. So you're mentoring, you're coaching, you're leading. So think about those as terms that you could use. And then after this, think about what you've written so far for those two things. So for the 3 achievements and the soft skills. Really look at your top 5 skills from these. And then just look up 3 modern powerful synonyms for each. So managing something can become orchestrating, governing, or leading. There are other words you can use, I'm just picking them out. But really sort of think about what other words you can use and expand your vocab and make these more business, professional words. You'll feel that this has immediately refreshed your self-description and how you're talking about yourself in the current market. Okay, next. So you're really looking at the job description, the person specification, the anatomy. So you need to decode this. Now this is something that I wish I'd known a lot earlier in my life, because I'd always stuck to a different rule. We look at a job spec, and we look at the responsibilities, and we look at the person spec, and we think, oh my God, I don't know if I can do all of these. I don't know if I fulfill enough of these to make an application. Think 70%. I think a lot of us think 95%, but actually think 70%. So if you think that you got 70% of those skills that are covered in that specification or in the core responsibilities listed, you're qualified and you can apply for it. Perfection doesn't always exist, and actually if you're wanting perfection, you're just hindering your progress. So just move forward instead, and 70% will do that for you. Okay, so also in the job spec, there's must-haves and nice-to-haves. So think of a job description and the person specification as a wish list. These are like the ideal. These are if we wanted everything in a person, this is what we would say. But not everyone is going to be able to hit all of those points. So really think about how they are describing it, because sometimes they'll use the words like required, essential, non-negotiable. Well, they're must-haves. But nice-to-haves will be defined as desirable, it will be an advantage to have, or maybe it is ideal. So a particular skill, experience is ideal. This implies that you don't have to have these to be able to be applying for it, or to be considered or be successful in being applied for the role. These are just add-ons or bonuses. So it tells you really where you need to focus your energy, and you really need to focus on the must-haves. There's something else here that I think is worth you knowing, and it's something that I just found out through experience. When you look at the person specifications or even the responsibilities, what's at the top really sort of tells a lot, because actually the recruiter or the employer will front load it. So if something's really important, they'll put it first, second, third. So these really show what the most important aspects to them are. So read the top 3 responsibilities or requirements in the listing. If your core value skills that you identified don't match the first 3, the job might be a poor fit. So then it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to apply for it. But actually this is quite a good way to filter out, and don't waste your time maybe. Go and find something else which you do fulfill those 3 points, because actually you're thinking about, will you be shortlisted for this role? So you've really got to keep sort of the next phase, the next stage of this recruitment process front and centre, okay? If you don't think you're going to get shortlisted because you don't fulfill those first 3, maybe don't apply. So this decoding really will help you to be able to distinguish the differences between essential and desired, requirements, and I just want to really save you time and energy, and that's why I've pointed this out to you. Just don't burn out yourself on stuff that actually isn't really worth it. But also a top tip I have here is, this really leads me on to talking about scattergunning. I've seen in the recent year that people will apply for loads of different jobs in a week, and I wonder if they're real applications or if they're just scattergunned. Less is more. Honestly, less is more. Focus, put more energy, more time, more creativity into less applications, and hopefully that will pay off. Okay, finally, frame your narrative. So, you'll really need to think about your value proposition and the statements that you make about yourself and how you connect the dots. Okay, so really here this is about your 3-word value proposition. So based on the steps before now, you've decoded the job specification and you've identified value words. Choose the 3 words that bridge the gap. So for instance, experienced, efficient, agile. These words are very important to describe you as a person and what you bring, okay? Your skills, your mentality, what you're like to work with. They're now the core of your professional narrative, so they can be used for your elevator pitch. The next part of this is I solve X. So, what have you done? What will you do in this company? Often, a job is advertised because it meets a need. It's there to fill a gap. It's there to solve a problem. Yes, it might be replacing someone that's left, but actually that job's there in the first place because it's filling a gap, it's solving something. So that appointment will solve a problem, it will meet a need. Write one sentence that directly states your core value that solves that problem. So for instance, I've got 10 years experience working for X on complex budgets. That will ensure that this new project stays profitable because I've done it like this, in this way, and this is the result that it led to. Okay, that's how you would do that. It's also a mental pitch for you to say, I've done this before, I know what to do, I know how to solve this problem. It gives you instant confidence that you'll be able to fit that role. Okay, and finally here, this is about connecting the dots. So, top 3 requirements that I've stated in the job description, and then you mentally match it to your achievements. And then you're really creating a clear mental pathway to say to yourself, I have the value they need for this exact job in order to do this and fill this gap, and to do it really well because I've got all of these skills. From that you can build your application confidence, and you're able to build a CV as well from there. So from all of this you've created a strong targeted internal pitch or a narrative that really connects your identified value directly to the market need. And this is essential before you do that overhaul on the CV, as I've just mentioned. Okay, so in sum now, I really hope that you're feeling more positive about your value. You've got a clear, confident narrative. But in order to do this, remember the 3 critical actions here. Identify, so you know your power and your transferable skills that you already have. Decode. You're no longer feeling put off by long job specifications, person specifications, job descriptions, whatever terminology you want to use. You're not feeling put off because you know how to read them and what's important on them and what you can fulfill. And remember, 70% does it, okay? 70%. Frame. So you've created your value proposition. Use this to frame yourself. Know exactly how your experience solves a company's problem. I would say this is the greatest part of you advertising yourself for that role. So, you've now affirmed your value and you have all the tools that you need to connect your skills to a job. What's out there in the market. So a number of different jobs that are described in a particular way. I hope that helps. As always, feel free to drop a comment, let me know how you get on, And subscribe, please do. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the next video. Coming up soon, I will be talking to you about how to tackle that CV. See you right here next time. Thank you.